Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as non-classic. This is episode number 1286 and Doubleshot number 1180. Two Marvel trades. First one is definitely the end of this Raiders run. This is Uncanny X-Men, Wolverine and Cyclops, Volume 2. Collect the Uncanny X-Men, Volume 5, Issues 17 and 22. Yeah, this is the end of Matthew Rosenberg's very brief run he had for the book. He was only in the book for about a year. Yep, despite the fact Matthew Rosenberg is the main writer of this book, there's more than one artist. For 17 is Carlos Verlee, who's also issue 17 with Carlos Gomez and Bob Quinn. 2021 is done by Salvador Roca with David Messina. The cover art is done by Wallace Porco and Eric Lagarna. Yeah, this deals with the end. This is pretty much the end of Matthew Rosenberg's run for the book. Yeah, pretty much everything that, first starts off basically with aftermath of the War of the Realms tie-in for Uncanny X-Men. Yes, which chronologically takes place between issues 16 and 17 of the run. Which, here's something interesting though. The War of the Realms tie-in Uncanny X-Men for that miniseries is actually part of the numbering for the series, which that's interesting to say the least. Yeah, it seriously is. But you're probably like, really? It is? Oh yes, it seriously is. So, the first one basically, because several New Mutants were killed off during War of the Realms. Oh, don't worry, they get resurrected not long after this, thanks to Jonathan Hickman. So, they have a funeral, and Wolverine's not there, though he mourns his own way. Though he's hanging out with some people, and all of a sudden they're attacked by one. The Office of National Emergency. People are thinking, why would one, the former protectors of the X-Men, attack the X-Men? Well, there's a reason for that, because Vala Cooper's no longer in charge. We have General Callan, a bigot, in charge, who apparently has Emma Frost working for him. And there's, when Scott's, at one point when they mention Emma Frost, everyone's like, who is Emma Frost? Because apparently she has used her telepathy to wipe the memory of her. Then apparently she dresses in black, because of course she wears kind of the same outfit she wore in the Bendis run. Also, there is sexual tension between her and Cyclops. To the point where she really wants to sleep with him again, despite the fact their relationship was over since 2012. Yes, for 7 years their relationship was over, and yet she still wants to get back together with him despite the fact he's probably not interested at all. Yep. So, basically, they're also following one's former Sentinels. They're not followed by humans, but basically Sentinels. They attack New York City, and then all of a sudden, the rest of the X-Men show up. Yep, coming out of the Age of X-Men event, where be up the Sentinels, Scott Renee with Jean, they make out. Emma Frost basically is sad to see the man she loved is basically back with his wife. Yes. Though I should point out, though, this is the first time Cyclops has actually been seen with Jean Grey since 2004. Yes. Though these issues came out roughly a little over a year ago, like in 2019 this came out. So, publication-wise, Cyclops has not been face-to-face with his wife in 15 years. She was on the White Hot Room, but she was still technically dead. This first time she's been reunited with her. I mean, yeah, there was a version of her that they apparently saw briefly Cyclops in the Resurrection of Phoenix miniseries, but that was just an illusion. Though later on they revealed he was actually alive. Mm-hmm. And so we actually have two deaths in these actual issues. One, of course, is Multiple Man. Yep, they kill off Jimi Hendrix, the one Matthew Rosenberg created. Though apparently he doesn't get resurrected by Hickman for some reason, I don't know why. And they kill off General Callan, which, yeah, that was pretty much expected. But it has a little nice ending note, basically, yeah. Where do we go from here? Jonathan Hickman's run. Also, Emma Frost apparently wipes the world's memory of the whole thing of mutants. They remember the X-Men, but the whole bigotry apparently because it got so out of control, so Emma Frost's like, oh yeah, I just wiped the whole world's memory of mutants. Whatever, it's all knowledge mutants. Okay? Yep. But yeah, this was interesting for say the least. It was a nice way to wrap up Matthew Rosberg's run for the book. Yes. Now, when he started off this run in 2018, he basically co-wrote this book with, of all people, Kelly Thompson and Ed Bronson. Yes. Kelly Thompson had only wrote, just prior to this, related to X books, Mr. and Mrs. X, and Rogue and Gambit. Ed Bronson wrote X-Termination and X-Force. And that's been it. And then they left. Now, when it was basically... When they were writing, it was a weekly title. Now, the only reason why Marvel had success with this was because Avengers was financially successful for them as briefly as a weekly title when you had these multiple writers on it. And the storyline was called Disassembled, which about time it hit the X-Men because apparently it hit like every single book of Marvel. Because it hit like all the Avenger books, even Iron Man got it. Now Uncanny X-Men got it. And then, of course, well, Wolverine was not part of this group, so all those X-Men appear in those first 10 issues, all shoved off Nerd Dimension with the Age of X-Men stuff, though they later came back at the end of this. So, basically, the title for the first 10 issues was coming out weekly for a little over 2 months. And then they decided to decrease the number of issues released from, well, basically coming out weekly. I think it was like twice a month, I think it was. Yeah, about twice a month they're coming out. Actually, like once a month. Basically, lasted for a full year Rosberg on his own. Though, mostly, Rosberg in this whole entire run basically had wrapping up his stuff with... He basically had follow-ups to Multiple Man, his Astonishing X-Men run, thanks to reuniting with Havoc. All News Dead Souls, that's a follow-up with that one as well. So basically, it's almost like everything he did led to this. And yeah, that's simply the end of his time with the X books. Because he wrote, like, officially, like, aside from this, he wrote officially 2 miniseries, actually like 3. I mean, this is what he wrote for the X-Men franchise. He wrote The Resurrection of Phoenix, The Return of the Adult Jean Grey. He wrote Multiple Man. He also wrote New Mutants Dead Souls. He wrote this. He wrote The Astonishing X-Men. And here's something quite strange. I took over Astonishing X-Men from Charles Shaw. The book did not hit the restart button. Now you're probably thinking, what? Marvel did not hit the restart button of Astonishing X-Men? Because that's been their MO for the past 8 years. Like, oh, get a brand new writer? Hit that restart button. The only other title to not do this was Champions. Yes, because Mark Waid and Helen Ramirez left after issue 18, and of course Jim Zeb took over the book, but the book was not restarted at #1. Nope, it wasn't. Now you probably think it was Marvel learning their lesson by not having hit the restart button whenever they change writers. Nope, they still do it. Yep. But in the case of Matthew Rosberg's one, it's mostly like, you can kind of think of it as very similar to James Robinson for Justice League, where the characters probably wanted to use, couldn't use because they're off doing their own things. So basically, he had to scrunch together his own X-Men, which mostly comprised of Cyclops, Wolverine, the Juggernaut. Like, here's basically, you have on the cover, you have Cyclops, Wolverine, Juggernaut, Multiple Man, Magic, Havoc. Like, pretty much all the mutants who are not stuck off in Age of X-Men basically came in that particular event. Well, and also Emma Frost. And if you're curious, though, did the Age of X-Men, did it have a death? They had one. Evan. They killed him off. I will discuss his death probably in the future. Alright, next up it is Mighty Avengers, Volume 1, No Single Hero. Another ending of an actual run. Well, mostly for the main Mighty Avengers stuff, but not with Al Ewing's time with the Mighty Avengers, because there was technically one more book after this one. Yep, this book basically for these first 5 issues, they are in fact tie-ins to 2 different storylines. One, of course, is Infinity for the first 3 issues, which basically laid the groundwork for basically the formation of this team. And of course, 4 and 5 are tie-ins to Inhumanity. No joke, it seriously is. Now, when they initially formed this team, you had pretty much people on the cover. You had the Superior Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Monica Rambeau, who started going by Photon, the second Power Man, and of course White Tiger. We also have Blue Marvel join this team. Yep, he joined the team in issue 2. Which, fun little factoid about him appearing in issue 2. That was his first appearance since his miniseries, Adam, the Legend of Blue Marvel. Yeah, since that miniseries ended, I read it. It's actually really good, by the way. The second issue of this series is his first appearance since that. And of course, becomes part of this roster and stays part of this roster until the end of the series with, well, Last Day stuff. Superior Spider-Man they basically formed this team, and they'll take Approximate, which later on they stay on as an official team anyways. And of course, they get their own base, which is the former Gym Theater, which was the former home of Luke Cage back in the 70s and 80s. And of course, his former partner from that series is here too, which kudos. That's one thing interesting about this particular run. There's many references to the 1970s Luke Cage stuff, and a little bit one reference to Spider-Man. Which I love the fact Al Ewing did that. Also, by issue 5, the Superior Spider-Man is off the team because of his arrogance. There was also the Spider Hero. Now you're probably thinking, who the heck is Spider Hero? And when you see his costume, like, what? What the heck is this? Like, heck, even the Superior Spider-Man, I agree with him basically on this. Like, what the heck is up with the Spider Hero? Like, here he is. The spell out for Spider Hero. Yeah, that's him. He only appears just for the Infinity issues before changing his name to Rodin. They don't reveal who the heck he really is until, like, toward the end of this run. You wanna know who he is? It's Blade. I have no idea why in the world Al Ewing thought this was a good idea to keep this guy's identity a secret as freaking Blade. Yes, as far as I know, there's no explained reason for this, but these issues do plant seeds for the final arc of this run when they mentioned about the Daywalkers. Yes, they were part of the final story arc of this particular before we relaunched as Captain America Mighty Avengers. But as the issues as a whole, these are really good, pure fun, and get the book roughly 9.5 out of 10, despite Greg Land's artwork. I mean, I wasn't distracted by his copy and paste art style in here, surprisingly. Though he would stay on the book for the following arc, and, well, then they had a new artist take over the book. Final thoughts on the Mighty Avengers series before, well, aside from Captain America Mighty Avengers. Well, in the case of the first volume, it's good. I've already discussed it already. But in the case of this volume, this was really good, despite getting canceled after 14 issues. Why? Apparently low sales. So apparently the only way to save this book, despite having the same writer, Marvel decided to relaunch this series as Captain America and the Mighty Avengers. Also, yeah, Falcon joined the team. And they also made a joke about Luke Cage when he briefly dated She-Hulk in the Heroes for Hire series. Yeah. As for Proxima, she didn't appear in this book. After the Infinity Time wrapped up, she never appeared in this book ever again. She appeared in other books, but not this series. Nope, she never returned. Though they did have the second story arc deal with the return of Golden Mace, a character who had not been seen since the 70s. And then deal with Daywalker stuff as part of the original Sin tie-in. But this was a good series. I think a lot of people read this series realize, though, yes, Marvel had a good series in their hands, but nope, can't keep it around. And despite the fact this is one of the good Al Ewing series, and because it got humor, don't market it. But yet Immortal Hulk, which has a bit of humor in it, but it's still a really good title. There's something quite interesting about him, about Al Ewing and another writer, Chip Zdarsky, where these guys write fantastic titles, but they keep getting canceled at the brief period of time when they come to like one for Chip Zdarsky. And then they're giving a serious title, and it's a big fun. Marvel just keeps this book going because it's a big name. Yep. So yeah, that's a particular review. Now I thought we'd have time to do ReZero tonight, but it looks like that's not gonna be the case. No, it looks like I'm gonna have to save for tomorrow. Yep. Now next video, 2 Spider-Man trades. Yep. Do next video. Bye.